We gonna make it.
Boxing King Media, powered by the Riyadh season. Third weekend in a row, Sonny Edwards is bloody, what was it? GBM in Sheffield, Monaco, Riyadh.
And the week before that, I was just, headlining and retiring. So it's been a busy month, really.
Yeah, it is. You have a bit of a mad week, mad few weeks. I think I should actually start off with rather than bringing it at the end. Still retired, third week.
100%. Do you know, it got to the point where, as you can see now, look what you just said. My life was stopping in the ways that I was really enjoying, like this way. Every time I was training for a fight and getting into that bubble of just being, going to the gym, coming back from the gym, eating, trying to just, do everything I needed to do. It was making it harder for me to do all the other things that I really enjoy doing in boxing and the sport. And I've just got a lot of time for that now. And in my retired status, I'm having conversations with, broadcasters, promoters, and everyone has been on to me, really, if I'm honest, and I'm grateful for it. I love talking boxing, I love watching boxing, and I think the commentary table is the best seat in the house. You got instant action replays, you get to sit there and actually discuss what's going on in front of you, and I try always to give the most unbiased, and even if I'm not hiding who I'd be rooting for, I will still call on the work of the other fighter, and I'll still score it the way it should be scored, in my opinion. And I do enjoy it, and I've been getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of praise from inside the industry and a lot of support as well, if I'm honest. I felt like since I've retired, I've had a big arm round my shoulder from everyone I've bumped into in boxing, if I'm honest, and it's been nice. And definitely retired.
Still recording, so yeah, like you said, they're getting great feedback for your commentary skills, so you still got other interests in outside, obviously being in the ring. So for clarity, still retired, no interest in returning. So we'll jump straight to Sonny Edwards, the manager, friend, Ishmael Davis. Now, we already spoke about, last week how amazing it is that he's got this opportunity, but how do you think he's dealing with the occasion? Because you've been in this sort of environment where you're going in against a top level fighter like, Bam Bam recently, and, other guys before that. How's he dealing with the occasion? Because normally you can turn up in Riyadh and you think, shit, like, you can freeze.
I think he spent so much time wishing and wanting to be in these sort of positions, and he's just taking them in his stride. I don't really see the nerves from him, like I've said, and I'm not trying to make it like cliche or cringy, but he really does come from a different place than, say, I do, or most top level boxers, especially from the UK, come from. He does, and not to brag or to try and make a big point of it, but when you have the depth in your character, where you've seen things that other people haven't seen, you've done things that other people haven't done, and had to live through things that other people haven't had to live through, it makes a far greater depth to your fight personality. And he's really happy to be here, but not just happy to be here. He's a winner. He wants to win. He believes he can win. And okay, look, he didn't win the Josh Kelly fight, but it wasn't the fight part of that he lost. I mean, look at the two men after the fight. The actual fight, if you went home and and damage was anything to score on, Ish looked like he hadn't been in a fight compared to Josh, who looked like he'd been in a couple of them. But boxing-wise, Josh tipped the scales of the boxing rounds, and I genuinely had it close on the night. I know how some people was going, oh no, he won loads. No, you can't just be negative and pick shots and hold when the other person's aggressive. Like, that will always bring the scorecard. So I wasn't surprised that it was close on the scorecards. And, if he went a couple of rounds early the way he did in the last round, he probably would have had a whole different result, in my opinion, because when he went through the gears, it wasn't even a match. It was one person surviving and one person trying to fight and getting held. And I like Josh. We're friends. I like Adam.
I've got to jump in.
That's the reality. But this is a different story. And this fight, for me, will let us have the best gauge, because I've never seen Ish in the ring in all the years I've seen him in physically really tested. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I came in the ring against Bam the first time I never made it to the final bell, that's where you saw the depth of my toughness, and it was the damage to my face that got Grant to pull it, rather than the actual fight that was going on, if that makes sense. But my toughness was there. You know, I can take a shot, I can ride a shot, I can stay there, I can stay in a fight even when I'm not the guy. You know, when I'm the nail, I can still be there for a while. And I think the most exciting part for me is we're really going to see how far the depths of Ish's toughness go. And I really believe in it. I pedestal it. I genuinely believe he's one of the toughest fighters in Britain, and I think he's going to show it. We know he's up against it. This kid's got more wins and knockouts than Ishmael has ever been in a boxing ring competing, amateur and pro. So, look, but like he said before, he took this fight. We was discussing it and back and forth, and we might have was waiting to have a discussion to see if we was going to maybe push for some more or see what we were saying. But Ish made the decision. Who am I to turn down these fights? An invitation from Riyadh season. His Excellency wants him in this fight. He got picked out of all the fighters that could have come for this massive fight in the last minute step in again. They gave it to Ish again, and he felt honoured. So here he is. He took the fight before the end of the night, and you was interviewing him before I'd even really knew. When I walked past, I just found out from Twitter. Just.
If you remember, in the changing rooms after his last fight against Josh Kelly, he did. I think you told me then His Excellency told him that he would be on the December card, and here we are 3 months later.
And he actually told him before the decision was announced. He loved Ish. He loved what Ish was bringing to the ring, his tenacity, his story. He showed care for him, and before the decision, I'm telling you, before the refs, the judges had all gone round and given it to the ref and the announcer, he told him then. If you go back and look at it, you can see Turkey come round, and he's in his corner telling him. After the decision, he told him again the same. Backstage, we started having conversations, and like I said, originally he was meant to be fighting tonight in a comeback fight, 8 round at the top of this bill. That was the plan. It hadn't been announced yet, until the rest of the guys got announced. But he had an opponent, and he could have easily gone, you know what, I'm just going to go and enjoy the Riyadh season, and I'm going to have the easier fight. But when the phone call got made, he was ready to upgrade. He was ready to go. And yeah, Ish really will fight anybody. Ish really will jump in the ring of anyone. I remember he's playing catch up, so there's no losses for Ish. He's never been trying to come through this perfect. He's just trying to come through it, and yeah, I'm proud of him. He's a great friend of mine. He's a great fighter to work with as a manager. And yeah, we're all rooting for him, and we all fully believe in him. We all fully believe in him. We know Sergey Bohachuk. We know he's tough. We know he punches hard. We know he works hard. But you put Ishmael Davies in a confined space of anyone in the world without boxing gloves on, and I don't think he's not the one coming out. I'll be wrong.
Well, I spoke to Sonny, the boxer, the manager. Speak to Sonny, the pundit, stroke commentator now. You got so many bloody hats. Yeah, change it. Yeah, so he's changed. You were at the GBM show, weren't you? You know, Izzy announced that he signed 4 fighters. One of the guys that he signed, Donte Dixon, is officially mentioned it the other day. You've obviously known Donte for a long time, and I've been a big fan of him as well, trying to get him to get back in the gym, work hard. And I think now's the moment. We've seen this Boxing World Cup thing announced. I think he can compete if you're up to 26. I think he's 24. What do you think of him, and how good is he? Just let the fans know.
Yeah, we actually did some sparring quite a few years ago, a couple of years ago now. And I've actually been friends with him, and we're from the same city where I've spent my adult life anyway. And he's a good lad. I like him. We've got mutual friends. We spent time together outside of boxing, and I'm buzzing that he's back, to be honest. I don't want to go into what I was saying really, but I spoke to him that night, and told him, man, you could see this world of your talent, and right now you're not getting out of Sheffield. He can really see the world, man, and he just needs to dedicate himself. He needs to stay switched on, have the right team around him, which I think he does, but just needs to be on it. You can't have a little setback and then go missing for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, because the whole of the world of boxing keeps rolling. You forget about like a drop of a hat. I can remember him getting TV appearances in London and Sheffield and getting pushed as one of the bright prospects coming through at one point, and if you don't get back in the ring, that fades very quickly, and then you're back onto the rebuilding. Do you know what? All 4 of those fighters, I know. Shakan Pitters, Jimmy Joe Flint, and Tyson Gallagher, I'll be real, she's been one of my friends since amateur days. I'm talking, we're fighting in the same championships, fighting in the senior ABAs together, and we've been friends for years. We was actually, I on like a big group holiday in Portugal, celebrating Maria, one of my closest friends in the world, my nutritionist, her birthday. So we're actually genuinely close friends, and yeah, man, I'm buzzing for them. I'm buzzing for Izzy because that's a good crop of fighters that can get in some interesting fights. Yeah, really good time for Izzy and GBM and all the fighters involved. And look, before I even really liked Izzy, just because I didn't really know him as well, I was really ready to support what he was doing and trying to bring to the city. And not for me, not for what I could benefit out of it, and he'll tell you the same. But just for the fighters, for the city, for the events, for a year going past and a fighter actually been able to fight in their own city about 3 or 4 times, and it'd be a good show, tickets sold, good fights, and that's what they're bringing. And I like that the Zone have really got behind them. I can't see the Zone going anywhere because those shows are good. Those kind of medical arena shows, shout out to Sheffield Sharks, but genuinely when Izzy dresses it up, has the bar on, has the tickets sold, it's the it doesn't feel anything out of what professional boxing should be, and that's what all pro fighters deserve when they're in proper fights. I'll be wrong.
Facts. Let's get Sonny the. We've done pundit commentary. We've done you what? Sorry.
What else is there? What
What else is there? We're going to stick to the pundit because I want to talk to you about the main event this Saturday. I don't know if you've done a prediction, if you've got any ideas who's going to win, but one of the big things that's come out from this week is Tyson's come out and said he's never spoke to his missus and kids for 3 months. I know you love your kids to bits, and I know your time away from them, you've always told me how much you're missing them. You've been vocal about it. You nearly broke down in the post-fight press conference a few weeks ago when you mentioned your kids. So you can probably relate to what Tyson's saying. So
he was in the glove room, but I don't know where he's right now.
serious question. You couldn't beat that timing, could you? I'm just about to ask him a serious question. That's Leito for you. So we saw you, so you can kind of appreciate what where he's coming from. So you tell me, what kind of stuff must he be going through? Not seeing his kids, missus for 3 months and just delete. Look at that.
I'll come find you in a sec. Sorry, so how many interruptions?
Two serious questions and 2 interruptions. There you go.
Yeah, but 2 people that can interrupt me at any point of whatever I'm doing. You know what I mean? Leighton, a good friend of mine, and business partner, and someone that helped me and supported me all the way through my career, and Sammy Ahmed, just because of his dad is really, you know what I mean? 2 good friends of mine in Sammy and Adam. So yeah, they can. But if I'm honest, it's a weird one because everyone's different. Every single weekend that I come back to Sheffield for my last camp, I spent all weekend with my kids, except the weekend before fight week. That's why I didn't go and try it anywhere overseas. It's why I didn't go to Dubai. I had something set up, I could have went there. I had something in America, I could have went set up over there. But I just don't want to be around for my kids. And I don't know. I know Tyson's got a lot of them, and it's hard, man. As anyone that has kids knows, it's hard. And to try and balance the moment that might sum up his career, The Undisputed didn't go his way the first time. He's got a chance to really cement his legacy. And a win here would level up the score of Usyk, but finish him on top right now. And he could even bow out Undisputed. And if you're going to bow out, what better way to do it? I don't know if that's his plans or what, but probably why he's really doubling down. But I know a lot of fighters, myself included, that during the fight week, when you're doing them training sessions and you're coming home, as much as you love your kids to bits, when you're tired, you don't want to neglect your kids. You don't want to snap at your kids. You don't want to get frustrated at them just being kids. So I completely get it. I mean, I don't know if my missus or any of my missuses in the past would ever let me go 3 months without chatting to them, but leverage in it, I suppose. But whatever you think you need to do to prepare yourself the best, maybe that was a bit of tongue-in-cheek comment, maybe it wasn't, who knows. But
Paris has confirmed it, it's real. She has spoken to him.
Yeah, and I don't know, I feel a little sorry for her, if I'm being perfectly honest, just because obviously as a mum you need emotional support from your partner. As kids you need emotional support. At the same time, if not now, when? You know what I mean? This is the big moment to cement Fury name in. It's already there, but the legacy and the opportunity of once in a lifetime. If not now, when? So You know, we have to make sacrifices, and it was the not willing to make those sacrifices that I probably had to make that has made my career end when it's ended. I can't do it anymore. I can't. Like I said, I know it sounds cliche, but I had to watch my son win his first ever 100-meter race, and I never won a 100-meter race. I don't think ever in my life. I was long distance. I was okay about long distance. Really, it was the 100 meters. My son, 4 or 5 years old, won his first race, beat everyone. You know what I mean? And I had to watch it through FaceTime, and it was about 5 seconds of the happiest moment, and about 4 hours of misery. You know what I mean? And just the thought of my son getting to the end of the finish line, seeing all the other kids with their dads, and you know his dad weren't there. And yeah, I just weren't willing to do it no more for boxing. I weren't, and now I can pick and choose. I can pick what day I'm coming to fight week. I can just go on a day if I have to, and I can get it covered if I need to. It's for my kids and for my family. And I guess I started feeling like a hypocrite because everyone asked me, "Oh, what's your why? You know, what'd you do this for?" And I'd look at you and point blank in the face, say, "I'm doing it for my kids." But it started weighing up on, is that really true? Because my kids need me to be there when they're ill. They need me to be there when they hurt themselves, when they're sad. They need me to be there when they're, you know, facing fears and standing up on the stage and singing or dancing or playing a guitar or doing anything. And you can only do so much so far away. And yeah, I think it's the right decision. And like I said, I don't know how I went off on that tangent, but you got to make the sacrifices. And whilst you're the biggest name in world boxing, and you know, you jump in the ring and the whole world stops every single time, yeah, this is the time to make the sacrifices. And yeah, I can understand it, but like I said, when the fact that he's willing to do it probably shows that he has got the eye of the tiger still. And yeah, the fact that I weren't willing to go any further than Liverpool to make sure that I could come back every weekend for my kids probably showed me where my mind was at the same time.
That leads me on to the most important question. Will that sacrifice pay off? Does he beat Alexander Usyk? Majority of the opinions this week have been Usyk wins. I think I've only spoke to maybe 20% people that are picking Tyson to win. And one of them's from his, is his brother. So most people are saying Usyk.
Ish thinks Tyson's going to win.
Does he? All right. So more like Usyk is suggesting that people are suggesting Usyk has downloaded the information and he knows what to expect and he might even do a better job. So you tell me, Tyson. They're suggesting he might come in heavier, but we don't know.
It's not like, for me. It's more. I look further back when I don't say Tyson. I look further back. I look at the Tyson that came through, the Tyson that was developing, the Tyson that we ended up with. But there were stages to it. You know, there was fights, not good performances. There was. I can remember Eddie Hearn at one point saying that he was the most boring heavyweight fighter ever, and you've never watched one of his fights. I can remember him saying it. Whether I agree with it or not, but I can remember him saying it. And Usyk, on the other hand, when I was an amateur and I watched every amateur competition, Usyk was the man. Usyk and Lomachenko, them two next to each other, was the celebrities of amateur boxing. They were the champions. They won everything, the worlds, the Europeans, the Olympics, everything that they could go in. They was winning WSB. Usyk went from 91 kilos cruiserweight in the amateurs, heavyweight in the amateurs, but not super heavy, up to super heavy, and beat everyone. Yeah, he boxed Sean Porter at 75 kilos at like 16, 17, 18. But like I said, sorry, you just cut my train of thought. But like I said, every moment of the last 20 years, just because it was a different discipline, Usyk's probably been one of the most consistently dominating fighters in the planet. And there was no surprise to me that he comes straight through the pros, went undisputed in cruiserweight, jumped up and went undisputed at heavyweight. It was no surprise to me because he is that good. He starts fast, he starts well, he gets control of the early rounds. Then he lets them have a go and he slows down a bit. And then he finishes fast. As soon as he gets to breaking them, he finishes fast and he wins every time, at least 8 rounds. Every time. It's phenomenal how he does it. And as much as I like Tyson, I respect the family and I love everything he's done for British boxing, it's the person in the ring against him is why I can't pick him in this fight, because I think at no point would I remember him fighting Joe Joyce, and Joe Joyce was way bigger than him. He didn't lay a glove on him, really. It was like, and he was doing it all over the world, so it wasn't no slight on Joe Joyce. Like, Usyk has always been the guy. He you know, people didn't get to see or rate Lomachenko as much as they should have. From when he turned, the fights he had to have straight away to sort of build up, like, they didn't get to see it, but he's phenomenal and special. Them two fighters there are two of the best fighters that have ever walked the planet on their day, in my opinion.
So you're picking Usyk to win. Just a quick on points or knockout.
Points, man. Points, man. I don't think Tyson Fury will ever get knocked out.
I'm going to ask you this question then, because when I spoke to Shane Fury at length the other day, he made a valuable point. You know, a lot of people reckon Usyk's like a top 10 all-time great. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's. If you just isolate his professional career, which, and that sounds mad, probably weren't even as impressive as the extensiveness of his amateur career. But if you just take that, he's one of the best ever. Definitely. And the fact from going cruiserweight to heavyweight and doing both undisputed, that is the hardest task in boxing because it's the biggest gap. And then you're fighting people that can weigh anything. Do you understand? So it is definitely the most incredible achievement to do. Like, okay, someone could have done 8 weight classes like a Manny Pacquiao, and that is ridiculously incredible and ridiculously tough and hard. But he probably wouldn't have ever been able to go all the way to heavyweight and do it. And as a cruiserweight to heavyweight, it's a massive jump because you can get people with 300 pounds, 400 pounds.
This is the question I've got for you then. Let's just say Tyson Fury beats him in convincing fashion, wins, and there's no knockout moment or anything like that, and he wins convincingly. Does that make Tyson Fury one of the all-time greats?
He's probably like halfway up there anyway with what he's done and brought to the sport. Like, let's be real, that's what it is. Whether you actually look at their styles and every single one of their results, like Muhammad Ali had losses, didn't take away from his greatness because how he transcended the sport and how his face was in every single household, and the messages that he put and the way he was as a person and his style and his flair, it was all of it combined. But it's not like he didn't have losses. It's not like there weren't people better than him at that day. You understand? But I think if Tyson beats him, I think he's already there. He's already up there. Like, and it's all hypothetical lists. We can all just put lists together and we can argue to the end of the day and then wake up tomorrow and do it again about who's there and who deserves to be there. So what I think there's a few clouds in boxing. You know, there's the people that start at the bottom, the grassroots, and they're there, and then, you know, the small halls that people don't really recognise and really notice. Even the fighters that get on the bigger shows, but they don't really ever go anywhere else apart from that. You know, that's there. Once you get through your head in the clouds and you're a headline act, then you're there. But once you achieve greatness, there's a group of them. It's not just who's first, who's second, it's third. It's a category. It's an elite sense. And in boxing, it's not just what you do in the ring. It's not just the wins. It's not just the belts. It's also how you have the people relate and buying in and engage to what you're doing. That is the real act of greatness, because it's stopping the world and gathering their attention when you get in the ring and have a fight. People are fighting every day. There'll be people fighting right now. There'll be fighting later. People are fighting every single day. And it's the ones that make the whole world stop and stare. They're the great ones. And it's not always skill-based. It's not always skill-based, but yeah, there's categories to it rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in my opinion. And yeah, I think both Usyk and Fury have got their head through the clouds to be considered greats. And yeah, maybe right now you're leaning with Usyk, but if Fury wins or whatever, then maybe you'll lean with him. But they're still both greats, and they're both in that category. Their heads are above the highest clouds of the world.
That's a fascinating breakdown, Sonny. Appreciate your time, mate. And I don't know what's happening next week. There is nothing definitely next week, so probably won't see you next week. Yes.
Christmas.
Christmas, mate. Got any plans? Done any shopping?
I did some just after my fight. Did all my kids shopping. I don't really get too many people presents apart from my kids. They get it all.
What you got?
Went and did about £900 on toy shops and this and that and the other, all the things that they picked out the Argos catalogues like I was a kid. Couple of perfumes for the women in the family, you know what I mean, to keep a smile on their face, something to open. But I'll be real, everyone in my family I provide for and support for, and yeah, they have their Christmas presents all year round. I'll be real.
I should have completely forgot. Your brother's got a wild fight coming up. Andrew Kane. I want to talk about it later down the line, but in short, how does your brother beat him?
Well, it doesn't take a boxing genius to see how both of them beat each other. It's going to go one way or it's going to go the other way. Either Charlie gets in his rhythm and finds it very hard to get, and Andrew finds it very hard to get close to him, or Charlie finds it very hard to keep Andrew off. That's the game we're playing, and that's what's so good about these matchups. I boxed Andrew as an amateur. I beat him in an amateur final, but I didn't bring it up to say that. But since then, me and Andrew have actually really got on, and it was like a full circle moment. When I weighed in for the Maruti fight. Andrew was on the undercard, hadn't seen him in years. He'd just come back from like his hiatus of the sport. He was on my undercard, and we sat there for about 3-4 hours, just me and him, chatting it out, you know what I mean, and just having like the conversations of where our lives has gone and how it's been and all the time since we last seen each other. And I've got a lot of time for that kid as well, and I've seen him out here and I gave him a big hug. It's like there's no animosity from me. Okay, Charlie's gonna sell the fight, he's gonna, you know, want people to watch, he's gonna, you know, get drawn into comments, like that's the fight. But I've got a great deal of respect for Andrew. I work closely with the ERT in the sense of behind the scenes with like the management. Like a few of the lads are managed by the same manager that I was throughout my whole career. So yeah, I was just linking up. People don't realise the ERT and me had like a long history. Every single national final was against an ERT lad or another. I think I bought Scott Rankin 5 times. He beat me the first 2. I beat him the last 3. Then it was a kid called Ryan or Ricky Briscoe. Sorry for forgetting the name if you're listening to this. Then it was Andrew Kane to finish. But it was like a 3-4 year, always get to the national finals and always see Paul Stevo in the corner. So it makes sense that we're all still here. Does that make sense? Because it was the level of competition, that's who I was finding, and all the lads are still here. And yeah, it's good to see Peter. I grew up around in the sense of the boxing, seen him in the finals, and Dalton Smiths and the Andrew Kanes, and yeah, man, it's good. It's how it should be, you know. I'm at this stage of my life and I'm seeing all the same faces that was rocking through the circuit at age 11, 12, 13. You know, all the hard work was paid off. Chris Congo, I've known since young, was in the same gyms as the Lin. Was with his brother last week, who I knew even longer than that, who was the boy, Obed Mokongo. Yeah, man, it's just like boxing has been such a journey for me, and I'm happy to share it with everyone that I've shared it with. Any boxer, even if you think I don't like him, I do, because I love boxing and I understand what we all do to get here. I understand what we all take, and when we get in the ring, we can disguise and think we hate each other and have to spite for each other, but we don't. We're both the same, but we have to go through each other. Pause, no diddy. We have to go through the gates, and only one can go through, and you know, one has to come back, and that's just boxing. That's the beauty of the beast, and it's like an oversimplified real reality of life. You know, there's a door and usually only one person can walk through it, and you know, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait for the next 50, 60 years in boxing, as long as my heart keeps beating.
Boxing is, I have to say, is the most maddest sport ever, because I'm not going to mention where me and you first met, but we met on a random street in Sheffield all them years ago. I'm not going to mention where, because I'll end up cutting it out. No, I'll end up cutting it out, but we met... so we obviously met on a random street, so it's interesting. We didn't know who we were, but I obviously knew who you were.
The night before, I bust my hand. Wow. Getting dragged into something on the bank holiday that I shouldn't have. So yeah, that was that night. I can remember it, and I generally think that was that day there was the start of my hand problem. This hand here.
It was the start of our friendship as well. You was in a white 1 Series BM, was it? See, I still remember. And then who knew 5 years down the line we're going to end up in Riyadh together. So, but yeah, like I said to you last time, you're one of the most genuine friends I've made in boxing, and always a pleasure speaking to you, mate. All the best, and stay in boxing and stay off smoking.
We gonna make it.